Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Janna complete guide. So now I have actually managed to play a game of Janna in ranked where we did relatively well, which of course you guys will see later. So I'm of course going to be doing the Janna complete guide. How I managed to play Janna in ranked, complicated story. Basically, my in position preference I put mid as my secondary role. And of course, I was duo queuing with my duo partner Zenri, and she got support, but I didn't get AD carry, so I got mid instead, which is my second choice. So she's basically a mid player when she doesn't play with me, so she did play mid instead, and so I played support because I was more used to the duo lane, but I can of course play mid. You will see upcoming, I'm going to be doing an Orianna guide where I did play Orianna in ranked. But anyways, enough about that. We're going to be talking more about Janna, who is, in my opinion, the best support at the moment. Mainly because she counters all the other supports who are great at the moment, like, you know, like Braum, Leona, Alistar and all. Alistar is actually slowly dropping off, but you know, she still counters most of the tank and all of the tank engaged supports, you know, and all the top supports at the moment. But you know, I find that she's the best because she just counters all of them. But we're just going to jump into the practice bit to discuss her skills, abilities, and leveling order. So now, discussing Janna's leveling order is a mini nightmare for me because Janna has a lot of ways to level. So first up, we're just going to start off with level 1. So level 1, you can actually take Q, E, or W. You can take any of them. So I'm going to try to go over this, you know, as quickly as possible so to not make this video way too long. Basically, you normally want to take your W if you have you know, the chance to poke. So generally you want to be taking W. But when you can also take Q or E. So for example, if you're up against someone that you can poke, for example, you're up against Leona with Tristana. So now you know at level 1, Leona can take either her Q or her E, which gives her CC. Tristana will be taking her E at level 1. So if you step up to poke, you get E'd by Leona, and Tristana comes in, stacks up her bomb, and you're basically either dead or you're going to be very close to dying. You're going to be losing the trade no matter what. So you don't want to be walking up to poke with your Q. Instead, what you can do is you can take just your E, play more passively, shield your AD carry when they step up to CS, and so that they won't take too much poke. Or instead you can also take your Q. If you think that Leona has taken her E, or you know that she has taken her E, you can just take your Q, and then you can just try to disrupt Leona with your Q. Now take note that you don't actually have to level anything when you're in the base. You can actually just walk up to lane. Actually, you should be walking up to lane with, in this state with nothing leveled up, and then you see what you need, and then you level up accordingly. It should be done on every character, not just Janna. But so basically, we're gonna assume that we taken W level 1. On level 2, you have basically the same thing. You can choose between Q and E. It just depends on the situation what you need. Do you want more safety and security for yourself and your ally with your shield? Or do you want some CC and disruption with your Q? So basically, the end of the day is, for your first 3 levels, you can actually take any order of your abilities depending on the situation, depending on the lane state, depending on the lane opponent, depending on who your AD carry is. Like if, let's say, I'm with a Jinx and I'm up against like a Leona Tristana, I definitely want to be taking like maybe Q level 1 to interrupt any engages, and then E level 2 just to protect my Jinx because I don't want her to die. So I will take W at level 3. But of course at level 3 you want to have all 3 abilities. So the leveling order really has a lot of variation. Just depends on you know, depends on the lane state, depends on the opponents and all, as I've already mentioned. Then what you max can also vary. So basically you never want to max Q because it's not worth it. You want to be maxing W or E. As a general guide, you normally want to max W so you can get a stronger poke and actually do some damage. So generally you want to max. Generally, of course, you take your ultimate whenever available. Forgot about that. But generally you max W. Your other option, of course, is to max your E, and then you max Q last. So of course, take ultimate whenever available. The other way to go about this is not a refresh state, wrong button, reset level. So the other way to go about this is to max E. So when do you want to max E? Basically, it's sort of like when you have like a hyper carry that you really need to protect, something like a Jinx, something like a Kai'Sa, you know, someone you really need to protect. You want to max E for, like, you know, the bigger shield and, you know, the better cooldowns and all that. So you want to be, you know, going ahead and maxing your E. So as you can see, it lowers your cooldown, increases the shield and all. So that's why you want to be maxing your E. But basically, the end of the story is, I forgot to disable AI. The end of the story is, you can, Janna has levels 1 to 3. You can go about a leveling order, any leveling order that you deem fit for the match. And then when you go about maxing your abilities, you can max either either W or E depending on what you need. So Janna has a lot of versatility, and even in playstyle, Janna has a lot of versatility. She can be the support that just steps up, keeps on pressing W and being the poke, or if not, she can hang back, just keep shielding her allies, just keep disrupting with her Q, and you know, she has many ways to play as well. So without further ado, let's go over the abilities. Her Q, probably the most famous ability, is a skill shot. It is a tornado, but it does not release immediately. So basically, if you can see, I'm aiming at this dummy. What happens when I release it is the tornado will start to form, and when it goes to maximum, it will launch by itself, as you guys can see. So we're gonna actually put it on zero cooldown so I can explain it better. So when I put my tornado, you guys can see that the ring around the first skill is going up, going around, I should say going clockwise, and when it reaches maximum, the tornado automatically launches. So now what do you get from launching it? What do you get from charging it? Basically, you get more damage and you get a longer knockup. So what you can instead do is just double tap it. It will launch immediately, like that. So it's a short knockup, just a little bit of damage. So it just depends on what you need it for. Sometimes someone like a Rengar jumps on you. You just want to do this. You knock up the Rengar, get yourself away. Sometimes you want to be setting up, like let's say this is the enemy team. You think they're going to be stepping up. You're going to just charge your tornado here. The moment they step up, you release. They get knocked up for a longer time and they take more damage. So that's how the tornado works. And what you can also do is you can put it in bushes so the enemy team can't see it. And when you deem fit, you launch it and they'll get hit by it. It comes out of the bush, comes out of nowhere, so they won't see it coming. And for her W, basically all it is it's a point and click. You can select which enemy you want to use it on. So like this, there's 2 enemies here. I can select which one I want to hit. Basically, it just does a little bit of damage and it gives a slow. So the enemies are slowed by a significant amount. Her E is a shield. You can tap it to self-cast like that. If not, you can also cast it on allies. Where is my ally dummy? Oh, here it is. I actually need to click spawn minions. Anyway, so here, you can cast it on your ally like that. And then your ultimate. So your ultimate, as you can see, is this AoE area. So basically what it does is, it heals yourself and allies for the entire duration, like so. Probably a better idea is for me to take some damage to actually show the heal. So as you can see, I've taken some damage. So now this will heal me up like that. It can channel for a couple of seconds, and I'm accidentally aggroed the Razor Beaks. But what it also does is it pushes everyone to the perimeter. So you guys can see that dummies are within my range. What happens when I press it is they'll get pushed outwards. So it's also like a form of CC to push enemies away. Now there's 2 main ways to use your ultimate, and you'll see me using it both ways in the gameplay later. The first way is just to use it to heal you and your allies. The second way is to just double tap it. You tap it once to push and tap it once to cancel, which is just to disengage. So with this is why Janna is really good at protecting allies. She has a shield, she has a tornado to knock up to disengage, and she has an ultimate for an instant push away to disengage. So she can really peel for her allies really well, especially like for an AD carry like Jinx, who really needs someone to peel for her or to buff her up. You can peel really well. So that's what Janna is really good at. A lot of people hate playing against a good Janna because they can't do anything. Lee Sin wants to Q in, disrupt him. Akali wants to jump in, disrupt her. Honestly, it's if you get used to disrupting people, it really isn't that hard because, for example, when Lee Sin and Akali hit their Q or E, the ally is marked, so you know they're gonna be dashing in if they reactivate it. So all you gotta do is put your tornado in between their path. When you see them flying in, just press your Q again. They get hit in the air, they get disrupted, they don't get their damage off, and they're left high and dry in a position they probably don't want to find themselves in. So we spent 10 minutes talking about her abilities and her leveling order, which is, it's really long because Janna needs some explanation. So let's now just jump into the build and runes as well as the spells. So here we have the Janna build. So this is the personal build that I like, and some high elo Janna players, some top Janna players actually do go for this build as well. So now the strange part about this build is the Rod of Ages as your first item. So what this does is it gives you health, mana, as well as ability power. So the reason why this item is good is, of course, for all the reasons above. You build it first, it starts stacking up. So in the later stages of the game, you scale really well. You get a lot of health. You get a decent amount of ability power and mana. Janna is relatively mana hungry, which is why I also take mana flow ban, but more about that later. So she is relatively mana hungry. She of course needs ability power and health. Now the ability power is not really for what you might think, because Janna, we're actually gonna take a quick look here at Janna. So Janna's skills does give ability power. As you guys can see, the tornado scales with ability power. The the W does scale with ability power as well. As you guys can see here, it scales with ability power, and her E scales with ability power as well. Her ultimate also scales with ability power. So actually, by building AP, you're actually increasing your supportive abilities as well, which is why I like Rod of Ages. And coming here, I did realize I forgot to mention what her passive was. So her passive is Tailwind. You have 8% movement, increased movement speed, and when allies move towards you, they also gain this movement speed. There is an indicator at their feet, like some wind kind of animation. So there's that. Just throwing that, sprinkling that in. So let's go back to her build. So I do like building that Rod of Ages first. Now next, honestly, you just go for a normal support build. You will go for either Ardent Sensor or Harmonic Echoes, depending on what you need. If you have a attack speed focused team, like let's say if I have an Olaf jungle, a Jinx ADC, I will go for Ardent Sensor next. If I don't have so much attack speed, like if I'm with a Jhin and like a Evelyn, I'm gonna be going for the not Ionic Boost. I'm gonna be going for Harmonic Echoes before I go for Ardent Sensor. I might even go for Ardent Sensor later on, like as my last item or later on in the build. But after I go for the two support items, of course you get the boots with either Locket or Redemption. Normally it's Redemption. Then I like to go for Rabadon's Death Cap. As I said, a huge chunk of ability power and increases your ability power by 40%, which of course, as we have discussed, increases your supportive capabilities. And then last item I like to go for Athene's. Of course, the three support items, they can actually be interchanged here and there. So another way to go about this is, if you're going for Rod of Ages, always go for Rod of Ages first, and then you can also go straight into your boot enchant if your team is going to be team fighting a lot. So Rod of Ages into the Redemption, which is what I do in the gameplay later on. And the other alternative is to not go for Rod of Ages, to just go for a traditional support build like this. So you just start off with either Ardent Sensor or Harmonic Echoes, and then after two support items, go for a Death Cap, and then go for Athene's, and then after it, go for like a Morellonomicon as your last item, because you can, of course, apply it with your basic attacks. Sorry, not your basic attacks, your W or your Q. So your Q can actually apply it to the entire enemy team if you manage to hit them all with your Q. If not, you're gonna have to target your W at the person you want to proc it on. So that is something to note about that. So Janna, of course, has some variation with her builds. So for the runes, of course, as a healing, shielding support, you want to be taking Airy. Also for the poke on your W, it does actually contribute to a significant amount of damage when you poke with your W, especially in the laning phase. Then you want to go for weakness, because you do have CC with your Q and your ultimate, which allows your team to do increase, you and your team actually, to do increased damage on the enemies. So you do want to be taking weakness. Then of course standard support rune, loyalty, And then instead of going for Pack Hunter, I do like to go for Mana Flow Ban because Janna is relatively mana hungry. So I do like having Mana Flow Ban just to keep my mana topped up and gain gain mana as I poke the enemies in the laning phase. And then now we're going to be talking about the spell. So of course you always want to go for Flash, but here as for your second spell there are alternatives. So of course being a support, you can take heal if your AD carry goes barrier, so heal is an option. Also helps you proc your support items. You can go for exhaust if enemy team has like a dive comp with like 1 or 2 assassins that you need to exhaust. And then you can also go for ignite if you want to be aggressive, like if you have like a kill lane, if you have like a maybe a weak enemy team. Let's say the enemy team is like a Jinx and a Lulu. You want to be aggressive on them because all Lulu will do is protect the Jinx. Jinx can do a lot in the early game, and let's say you have a Misfortune. Misfortune has high damage early game, so you want to get Ignite for the kill pressure. That's also an option. So basically it's heal, exhaust, or ignite. Technically 3 standard support spell choice. So there's that. So now we're actually going to jump straight into the gameplay to take a look at how we play Janna. Alrighty, so here we have the gameplay. So as you guys know, I'm going to be starting off the Rod of Ages. So I pick up the Ruby Crystal first. Duo partner Zenri is now in the mid lane, so now we're both I shouldn't say both. Now I'm the only one in the duo lane here, so I'm gonna be supporting this Kai'Sa. So first up, I just walk up, get some vision in this bush. Now I find it really common that people like to set an ambush in this bush. So what I like to do is, the moment I can leave base, I run straight there and I put the ward there. As you guys can see, Seraphine has done the same, although a few seconds after me. So here we're just gonna start off the laning phase. Now here, if you guys can see, I'm actually just hitting the minions. So now this is honestly, you're not supposed to be doing that, but I'm really used to playing AD carry, so I'm very used to just stepping up and hitting the minions. Then I realized that oops, that's not what I should be doing. So I instead go up to poke the Ezreal. So Ezreal and Seraphine is a pretty pokey bot lane. So Ezreal steps up, eats an entire Kai'Sa Q. So that's not a good look on him. So instead we're just gonna continue poking. It's fine because Ezreal and Seraphine's poke is not the worst. I mean, basically whatever I poke them, they can poke back, which allows my Kai'Sa to so-called farm in peace, so that they can not be disturbed, because they would poke me because I'm stepping up and being the easy target, and I can just step up and poke them. Here I've taken my shield level 2 because I have we've of course this is a poke lane, so we're gonna be getting poked a lot, so the shield is gonna help to negate some of the poke damage. So here I'm just stepping up to poke again. As you guys can see, we're just trading health. I'm taking quite a bit of damage, but all our health bars are relatively similar, except for Seraphine, who's really healthy. Here they go all in on the Kai'Sa while I'm not around. So I do manage to pick up the kill on the Ezreal as Kai'Sa just retreats out of the way. So that went really well for us. So now I have hit level 4. Seraphine has only just reached level 3 because we do have a shove advantage. Ezreal does not have any wave clear, and Seraphine has not been helping him out with that at all. Instead, opting to poke us instead. So here, we actually get a free back. I say we because me and the Kai'Sa could have both backed here and just picked up some free items, walked back to lane, and the lane state would be neutral. But what Kai'Sa instead does is, for some reason, she walks down the river, doesn't place any wards at all, but and then she walks back into lane where she basically gets 2v1'd by both of them. I come back just in time to shield her and also put a tornado just to prevent them from walking up here. She barely makes it out alive, and she's going to be recalling in the Tri-Brush. So in the meantime, I'm just seeing what's happening. I see Rengar over there. Of course, I'm alone. It's a 3v1, so I'm not going to be going in or anything. All I'm doing is just getting off a W on Rengar. Just a little bit of poke. Stacks up my mana flow ban as well. Of course, doesn't hurt to poke. Here, I can actually pick up some CS since Kai'Sa is not in lane. So she's not going to be able to get the CS anyway, so I'm going to pick up some CS for myself. And I also hit level 5 and get my ultimate. So Kai'Sa is back in lane. I have lost about a third of my health to poke in that point in that period. Kai'Sa is still level 4. So we're gonna and of course the enemy team is all level 4. Ezreal just hits level 5 off their minion. So Kai'Sa's now level 5 as well. So now we can look to actually fight because we're all about even in strength. So Kai'Sa gets off a good Q. Here Kai'Sa Ezreal trading. Kai'Sa eats the entire Ezreal ultimate. So here a nice tornado and exhaust on the Rengar for me to escape. If not, Rengar is gonna get the kill there. So I did ultimate like about. I didn't want to press ultimate initially because that would push Ezreal and Janna out, not Ezreal, Ezreal and Seraphine out of Kai'Sa's range. But the moment I realized that Kai'Sa hits is gonna get hit by a point blank ultimate, I tried to cast ultimate, but she died. And even if I had managed to press it in time, she still dies. Ezreal ultimate does do a chunk of damage, so she's dead whatever it is. So I technically wasted my ultimate there. I managed to pick up my Rod of Ages, so but thankfully I do get the return kill on the Ezreal, and then when Rengar comes in, technically I was dead there, but I do manage to play out the situation really well. Here Rengar is left just with 1 HP, so I'm just going to roam down and hit him with a W for my 3rd kill of the game. Take note that so far all my 3 kills are not KSs. The first 2 kills Kai'Sa could not get. The first 2 Kai'Sa could not get. Second kill Kai'Sa was dead, and this 3rd kill Ahri was 1 HP, so she couldn't get it as well. So I did manage to pick up 3 kills without KSing anybody. Here I'm going to pick up my 4th kill simply by running down Ezreal in the 2v1. Just because I'm so fat with 3 kills, I have picked up my entire Rod of Ages. Ezreal only has a mana immune. He can't actually do anything to me. Of course, I've sacrificed my entire health bar, but I basically eliminate him from the map on the, at the time being. So back to the Rengar play. So Rengar has jumped in on me, and he basically could have killed me if I didn't play the situation properly. What I instead did was, here I'm gonna go back and help my Kai'Sa against the Rengar. So what I did was I double tapped my tornado just to get the instant knockup on the Rengar, which allows me to put some distance between me and him. Cause he already used his mobility, which was his jump from the bush. Then I exhausted him to reduce his movement speed furthermore, which allowed me to just run away. In addition, I got my 8% movement speed from my passive, which helps me run away. So Rengar could not catch me, and I lived to see another day. Now there, if you guys notice, I did pick up the double buffs from Rengar when I killed him, so I did manage to run down the Ezreal. Here, Ahri picks up a nice double kill on the enemy bot lane, and we are basically at this point where it is becoming, you know, quite a huge lead for the bot lane at least. Now, if you look at the overall goal, my team is only leading by like about about 0.4 to 0.5k goal. So we're actually not like very far ahead. Now, reason for that is Ahri is doing well. I'm of course doing well. Kai'Sa is doing alright. She's 222. But the Diana and actually not, that's not Kai'Sa. 222 is actually the Jax. So Jax is doing alright. Kai'Sa is not doing too hot. She actually only has she has no kills, but she has 2 assists. She has picked up her Infinity Age, which of course, if you guys saw my Kai'Sa a complete guide, that is not the way to go about building Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa needs to get her evolves, so she needs to rush her evolves, not go for a full item immediately. So that's the wrong Kai'Sa build. This Kai'Sa player not the best. I'm 2 levels up on Kai'Sa actually because of all of my kills, and I'm 1 level up on the enemy bot lane, who are both level 8, so I step up to do a bit of poking there. I'm doing a lot of damage now, so here Rengar comes in, so this is a big mistake. Here, although I did manage to show off something there, of course I run into 4 enemies with no vision, so that is not a good look for me. But what you can actually pick up from that is, of course, don't walk into places with no vision. Don't be too greedy like me. Now, I was really far ahead there, so I was just trying to get off some damage, not even trying to really kill people because I'm a Janna. But anyway, what I was trying to say there is that if you guys saw, the moment that Rengar jumped on me, I cast ultimate, which actually pushed him all the way to the perimeter. Of course, I did push him into a bush, but the lesson to learn here is how you can use Janna's ultimate to push people away from yourself and try to disengage. Of course, there's 3 people who is gonna go on me, so it's impossible for me to get rid of all of them. But that's still the proper use of the ultimate. So here, they're trying to shove in the wave, and I'm just trying to prevent that from happening. So because of that death, the enemy team is going to be able to go for the dragon. Here I redemption to actually get vision on the dragon, and we're actually going to go for the contest. Here we just quickly burst as Rengar realizes that, you know, there's no escape for him. Or I shouldn't say there's no escape, but there's no way he's getting the dragon. So instead, he opts to Proto Belt and run away. Unfortunately, we have already finished killing off the Ezreal, and all 3 of us collapse on the Rengar as well. And what essentially happened here is Rengar gave us a leash. Rengar and Ezreal gave us a leash on the dragon. So we just returned return to the dragon, which is now about 1000 HP, and then you easily pick up the dragon. Here, just a small thing, just denying the enemy fruits. So here, you can see Seraphine has activated her Twin Shadows and tries to ultimate. Unfortunately, minions do not extend her range, so she was quite far off there. Maybe she didn't understand how Seraphine works, but there was no way that ultimate was going to hit us unless it extends, which it does not extend through minions. So she whiffs the ultimate, but it was a good try by her, because Twin Shadows would slow us down. So if she hit us with both the Twin Shadows and the ultimate, we would be basically walking towards her under the tower, which of course is not what we want. So here I'm actually going to rotate mid since we have already gotten the top tower. Of course, as the support especially, normally what happens is if you and your AD carry manages to pick up the top, whatever top or bot tower that, whatever lane, pick up your tower basically, pick up the enemy's tower I should say. The support wants to roam mid, especially if the mid tower has not been taken down, and the AD carry just gonna return to that lane to just clear waves and just hold the lane so that they don't just freely trade the tower back. So here, skirmish is breaking out here. I managed to slow down the Seraphine from the Jax to get the kill. I knocked up the Rengar with my Tornado to try to allow Seraphine to get the kill there, but not Seraphine, to try to let the Kai'Sa survive there, but Kai'Sa unfortunately dies. I exhaust the Rengar so he doesn't just instantly kill me, and then I hit my W to slow him so that Jax can jump on him. I expected Jax to jump on him and get the kill, but he doesn't, so it turns out that my basic attack ends up picking up the kill. So that was kind of a KS there, but it wasn't intentional, so it is what it is. I pick up double buffs again from the Rengar, and here I'm gonna go with Ahri to sort of push the lane in. I do pick up a Q onto the Graves, which puts him really low, so he's gonna have to recall and also get a knockup on the Seraphine. So here, get rooted by a Seraphine unfortunately, but our team is pretty ahead, especially me and Ahri, we're pretty ahead. Kai'Sa is honestly still not so bad. She has 7 assists, so she still has quite a hefty chunk of gold. Rengar jumps into 3 of us to try to assassinate Ahri, and he does. I tried to actually push him away, but unfortunately he's at the wrong side. I ended up pushing him towards the Ahri, so I technically ended up killing Ahri there. So that was a bit of a blunder, so that's not what I was trying to do. I was trying to push the Rengar away, but I ended up helping him instead. So of course I'm not the most experienced Janna player, but I do know what you're supposed to be doing with Janna, but I don't have the best Janna mechanics of course. So that's a bit of a oopsie right there. I have managed to, of course, I do go for a redemption second item, and I did manage to get my Ardent Sensor, because there is a Jax and a Kai'Sa which really benefits from attack speed, as well as the Diana, which can also benefit, I guess you could say. So if you notice there, the Nasus, on the Nasus kill, I did actually Tornado to the direction he was not walking in, because if he continues walking up to the river, Kai'Sa is going to cut him off, and his only other escape route is through that path there between the mid lane wall and our turret there. So I did Tornado towards there, so if he did try to walk that way, he was going to get knocked up. So that was not a whiff of the Tornado, that was just you know, cutting off all his exits. So here Rengar has marked me, so he's gonna jump on me, and I redemption. I flash out of the way, and my entire team comes to back me up. So I'm pretty lucky to survive the Rengar there, but honestly not a good move for Rengar to jump into an entire group of enemy team. Even if he got the kill on me, he was still gonna die, so I wouldn't do that if I were the Rengar. But you know, what can you do about it as the Rengar? You know, his team is pretty behind. Honestly, the enemy team, the Nasus is honestly doing pretty well, but he did just overextend all the way into our jungle there, so that's probably not the best idea for him, even though he's pretty fat. Our team picks up the Ocean Dragon, which is a huge pickup. Of course, Ocean Dragon is really important, and now is where the goal lead has already increased to 4k from like about half a k, so we technically were even in the early game. And of course I had majority of the kills, which is definitely not where you want your goal to be funneled to, not the Janna support of course, but you know, circumstances led to it as such, especially for the first 4 kills. The first 4 kills were all not KSs, the 5th one was, but you know. So here we're going to collapse on the Ezreal, me and the Jax. We both get charmed and rooted by Seraphine, but at this point we're so ahead that it doesn't really do all that much, to be honest. Ahri coming in, hits the charm on the Seraphine, gets the full combo. Rengar jumps in, Ahri is going to be going. Here I get a nice zoning Tornado. Jax is deep into the chase. I don't think that's the best idea. Nasus is coming in, he's running me down. I shove him out of the way. Then I redemption, I tornado, but it goes in between everybody. And my entire team dies, except for Diana. So now they're all, of course, gonna be chasing after the juicy Diana and not me. So here I'm gonna try to go around and come in through this opening here to try to help her. But unfortunately, she dies before I can give her a shield. So instead, I'm gonna have to disengage, knock up the Ezreal, get off just a W for a little bit more poke, and then I'm gonna have to run away because I'm about one Ezreal Q and auto attack away from dying. So I'm gonna back off, and I'm really close to picking up my harmonic echoes. So of course I have also picked up the sweeper, because if you guys notice, in my team no one actually has sweeper, so we need some vision denial, so it's gonna have to be me. Of course I'm the support, so I'm gonna be picking up the sweeper. Ahri ults in, whiffs the charm, however, and we can't really follow up anything from there. Enemy team does get a ward here. I spotted out, so I'm just gonna use the sweeper to get rid of it. At the same time, I'm gonna be sweeping the Baron area, the bot side river. So here I was actually pinging for a collapse onto the Nasus, because Jax had a nice position to go onto the Jax. Diana was coming up through the lane, and I could flank from behind to cut off his escape, but unfortunately Jax didn't get the memo, so Jax instead goes to farm the Raptor, so it does not actually happen. So yeah, so now we're just gonna clear out the mid lane, and now we're actually gonna collapse on the Nasus. This time it's me, Ahri, and Diana who's gonna collapse on the Nasus. So here I can actually already show myself, but I'm not going to, because I can't really do anything to the Nasus. So instead, I'm gonna be waiting for the Ahri now. I'm gonna follow the Ahri. Ahri hits everything on the Nasus. I hit everything on the Nasus as well. Knock out the slow. Everything. Nasus is ignited as well to stem his healing from his passive. And now a full-on fight starts breaking out. So Rengar is obviously coming in. You can see the mark. Rengar jumps on me again, and not a bad move honestly by Rengar. So but Rengar dies for it, and Ahri gets the heal. I'm gonna redemption to put her to full health. She hits the charm on the Seraphine, gets the electrocute prop, auto attacks down the Seraphine, but unfortunately Ezreal too much DPS. Here Kaisa and Diana managed to pick up the Grave, so that's almost an ace. Only Ezreal is left alive, and 3 of our team is left alive. So here, as you can see, I'm pinging for Baron, because Ezreal can't really contest the Baron at all, and we have 3 people up, all who can take Baron very fast. Kaisa takes Baron really fast. Diana, weaving in her attacks and proccing her passive, takes Baron really fast. Jax takes Baron really fast. So 3 of them should be able to pick up Baron very easily without any contest, as you guys can see. Easily pick up the Baron, and I respawn in time to get myself the Baron buff as well. So all of them are of course going to back to get items and just reset after the fight. I do pick up my Harmonic Echoes, and I'm going to be building towards the Death Cap. So here I'm just pushing up mid lane by myself, of course, but not too far. Knowing that the entire enemy team just respawned, it's pretty safe for me to just push out mid lane. Here I'm sweeping the entire dragon area, checking for vision, because Infernal is up. Here I actually spot Rengar on the sweeper, so I'm gonna go, I've launched from the knockup expecting Rengar to follow. Here I bait the Rengar into jumping on me when he gets hit by absolutely everything, and Seraphine whiffs her ultimate again. We pick up the Nasus. Here I get a nice heal on my team. You guys see how much I healed the Ahri for. Ahri was basically dead. She's back to about 3/4 health. Jax kills the Seraphine. Graves, is that Graves? Yeah, Graves jumps into all of us, and we ace the enemy team. So here I'm just pinging to end the game. We don't need to pick up the Elder Dragon. There's 40-second plus death timers on the entire enemy team. It's long enough for the entire team. Since my entire team is up, we can just run straight down mid, pick up the inhibitor tower, pick up the Nexus, and just get the victory. So me and Ahri, of course, we are gonna do that since we are actually duo. The rest of the team pick up the dragon, but they're all gonna be here in time just to see the inhibitor fall, and we're just gonna end the game right here. So alright, so there is the victory. We did pretty well that game. So now, of course, as usual, we're gonna be taking a look at the stats. Alright, so here we have the stats. So of course, you guys can see we are 7-16. Obviously, 2 deaths, unavoidable from the Rengar. Rengar really is focusing us. Not really a bad idea, honestly, since we are really buffing our team a lot. So killing us off first does actually get his team an advantage. So can't really say it's a bad play by him. But of course, I do get most assists and highest team fight participation, something you always want to see as a support. So that's good for good on me. So here, just gonna take a quick look at the builds. Diana, pretty good build. I loved Rod of Ages into Nash's too. She then goes for Morelos. Honestly, decent amount of healing on the enemy team. Graves has the Death Stance, Nasa's passive, and Rengar's W, so not too bad. I'm not even sure if Rengar's W is affected by Grievous Wounds, but yeah, not the worst pickup. So Ari goes for a pretty standard build, but most people are starting to veer away from the Awakened Soul Stealer at this point in time because it does hamper your damage by quite a bit. So that's a bit of a personal choice. Ari did get an A, of course, and we actually pick up an S on the Janna, which is really good. So as we've discussed, the Kai'Sa build, these are the 3 correct first items for Kai'Sa, but the build order is wrong. I think she's going towards a Guardian Angel as her 4th item, which is of course correct. The build itself is correct, but the build order is wrong. So Jax picks up an S as well, with a lot of Chara damage. Jax, of course, a really good split pusher. Jax actually goes for Blade of the Rune King before Triforce. I prefer Triforce first, but then he goes for this weird hybrid where he goes for the Nashor's Tooth for the magic damage, as well as, of course, all the other stats like the attack speed, ability, haste, and so on. Really interesting choice there, and he does also go for defensive boots, which I like. But really interesting build there. I can't really say it's wrong, but I will just say it's pretty interesting, because normally you go 80 or 80 or AP Jax. AP Jax not the best on Wild Rift, but really interesting build. I'm not gonna comment too much about it. I mean, he did get an S, and he did go 10 for 7, so obviously it can't be that bad, but it might just be from the fact that our team is so ahead. Also, I'd like to point out that Kai'Sa did pick up a locket for the team, which is a pretty interesting decision, because normally as an AD carry, you want to go for Zanya's, especially with the Rengar on the enemy team who can dive you, but she instead goes for a locket. I mean, it's a pretty good choice considering how Rengar always prioritizes the me as his main target, so he's not actually jumping on the Kai'Sa, so actually locket might actually be good here. Here, Ezreal standard build, Rengar goes for Triforce. Honestly, I don't really like Triforce and Rengar. I've discussed this previously, but other than that, it's alright. Seraphine goes for a weird build, honestly. She goes for Seraph's Embrace into Rylai's into an armor item, which is the Frozen Gauntlet. That's a really strange build. I can understand the Seraph's Embrace. Rylai's is a little bit questionable, because Seraphine doesn't really need the slow of the Rylai, since her E already slows and roots, and her ultimate already charms, so she doesn't really even need the slow. So Rylai's is a really questionable pickup already. Then she goes for the Frozen Gauntlet when she doesn't actually have any armor at all, and Seraphine there's no tank Seraphine build, so Seraphine really questionable build. She was the SVP, probably just due to her teamfight participation. And Nessus goes for, honestly, a good build. Triforce into defense items. Probably going towards a Spirit Visage as his 4th item. Although I would say that probably picking up the Spirit Visage earlier is going to be a lot more helpful for him, because I'm getting fed. Ari is fed. And Diana is also magic damage. So I think Spirit Visage as his 2nd item probably would be a better option. But of course Jax is fed as well. But Jax has AP. So probably he delayed his magic defense a little bit too long. And Graves' build is alright. So now we're actually going to take a look at the numbers. Okay, so we're going to take a look at ourselves first, of course. Honestly, we did a decent amount of damage, considering we did like 4k less damage than Kai'Sa and 2k less damage than Diana, which are supposed to be our damage carries. It's pretty alright. Instead, it turned out that Ari and Jax were carrying us in terms of damage, but comparing to the enemy team, my damage is pretty decent, especially as a Janna. Damage taken is pretty comparable to everybody else on the team. Enemy team, of course, taking a lot more damage than us because they are getting attacked by us a lot. I get 23 teamfight participation out of 33, not bad. Here, Diana doesn't do too well, honestly, but she does take a lot of damage. Kai'Sa doesn't do too well. Jax and Ari, of course, are doing really well. On the enemy team, honestly, nothing out of the ordinary to point out. So this is what the stats look like, and that is it for the Janna complete guide. It's really long video. So thanks for watching the video, guys, and goodbye.